It is day 25 of the government shutdown, and federal workers are feeling the impacts after missing their first full paycheck. They lined up around the corner outside a Washington, D.C. food bank set up specifically for federal workers. While Republicans claim Democrats should be held responsible, one Democratic congressman says workers don't see it that way.
The federal workers that I represent are fed up. They have endured 10 months of unrelenting assaults and attacks from the Trump administration. They've been fired. They've had their service denigrated. They have been unendingly under assault. And they see this shutdown as another in that long list of assaults.
Megan Hayes and Maura Gillespie are back with me. So, Megan, how strong is Democratic messaging now 25 days into this shutdown? And do they still have the public on their side? Are they helped by Speaker Mike Johnson canceling votes for an entire week again?
Well, I do think that helps Democrats in their messaging, but let's be clear here. The real losers are the American people, right? The people who aren't being paid, the government programs that people aren't going to get WIC benefits and SNAP benefits, and people who aren't getting paid like our military. So those are really the people who are losing here. But it doesn't help that Mike Johnson has the House out for the 5th week in a row. That means all of the Republican members are home in their districts and not in Washington negotiating and trying to get to solutions. Most of the negotiations don't take place at the leadership level. They're always one level down or two levels down. But when they're not even there, it doesn't even show that they're willing to put anything on the table. And I think that's what's really detrimental here is the American people aren't seeing Congress do their job and do any sort of action.
Well, Maura, there's some states that are warning families who rely on SNAP benefits to feed them may have to go without, whatever that means, but it could be disastrous if the shutdown continues into November, which is just a week away. The governor of Louisiana issued a state of emergency over this issue. More than 16% of the population in Speaker Johnson's home state relies on SNAP. Is this now at a critical phase?
I think it's becoming one. You've got workers who want to work and they're going to get back pay. It's the law. But from a Republican messaging standpoint, that means that we are wasting money, essentially, because we have workers who want to work. We're not allowing them to work. And we're also going to be, not only are we running out of funds, people are now running out of food. This is culminating into a bigger problem. And it's also, when it starts to damage the economy, then you're also going to see Republicans get frustrated, as well as Democrats, obviously. But I do think that it should be incumbent upon Speaker Johnson to show the American people a good faith effort of having members there, because they're getting paid. As Megan pointed out, they're all home. They've been home since last votes were September 19th, I believe it was. But they're getting paid. There is not a lapse in payment for members. And so this is what's frustrating, I think, as well. I mean, you have senators who are there doing these votes, but I would hope that there are conversations happening on the floor and between committees about, okay, let's show that we can put something together and move the ball forward, end the shutdown, let people go back to work, and not to put any more damage on the economy that already is mounting.
So, Megan, this is all about health care and those who get insurance through the Affordable Care Act. They're already seeing the sticker shock as window shopping begins. Premiums will rise by 18% on average nationwide. How does that change things? Does it give Democrats more leverage as Americans now see the consequences, feel the consequences of these subsidies going away?
Absolutely. And I also think that they're seeing that Republicans aren't coming up with a solution. There's no solution. They just say it's bad. We don't want to do it. But that doesn't help the people who can't afford it. And when we're talking about the economy, people, when you don't have health care, that means other things then sacrifice. People don't go to work when they're sick. They don't want to go to the doctor because they can't afford it, because they don't have health care to help subsidize the payments to the medical for insurance, for medications and the doctors. So it does take a toll on our economy. We're not going to see it instantly, but it will take a toll on our overall economy. And working people should not be put in a position to have to decide whether they're going to feed their families or buy health insurance. This is the United States of America. We should be better than that. And our members of Congress should be working to negotiate to figure out how to solve this problem.
Maura, what is the off-ramp for Republicans at this point? Can they really still expect Democrats to vote to reopen the government without a concrete plan to extend these subsidies? Do you think Republicans expected Democrats to cave before Americans, as they are now, see their health care premiums skyrocket and then understand exactly what Democrats are fighting for?
I think Republicans are still banking on the fact that this situation is based on the fact that Obamacare isn't working the way that it was supposed to. The ACA did not, these subsidies were set in place during the pandemic. They were supposed to run from 2021 to 2025. Obviously, they expire this year at the end of the year. But it's a subsidy for the insurance companies. But as other Republicans have pointed out, their constituents, regardless Republican or Democrat, they are concerned about the rising cost and premiums. They're concerned about how much of their paychecks are going to cover their health care. And so I do think that I'm hopeful that the Senator Thune and Leader Thune will bring together some senators to start formulating a plan. But as we experienced in 2013 with President Obama, who wouldn't talk to Republicans until the shutdown was over and this threat was off the table, I do think you're seeing that play out, and Democrats know that. And so in order to, I would hope that Thune will give them a good faith effort saying, here, I want to work on a plan. We have to shut this, end the shutdown and then move the ball forward there.
Okay. I had wanted to ask you guys about the New York City mayoral race, but we can do that next weekend because we'll still have a few days to go. So we'll do it then. Thank you so much.